and stole a fever with an egg. His mama may have also done this work. I never met Mamaw Siegel, but my mother has told me stories of her home on Pine Street in Johnson City, Tennessee, that the walls seemed like they were breathing, and there would be cold spots in the dead of summer, even though Mamaw didn't have an air conditioner. Mama said she always had oil lamps going and something burning with a musky smell on the stove. She loved the woman to death, but she hated going to her home. My maternal great-grandmother, Sadie Mae, from the Melungeon side of my mother's family, used to make dolls and hide them for some reason. Her husband, a white man, we think was a conjure man also, due to a photo we found of him posing with a doll that has black feathers attached to it. Mama also has the gift as a seventh daughter. Her mama has the sight too. Anything she says has passed and will pass. She has always had those weird quirks that everybody notices but doesn't put much thought into. I think she enjoyed it until I came along. See, I was born blue, which is said to be an indicator of the gift or the sight in Appalachia. Being born breech, sunny side up, that is face up instead of face down, or with a veil over the eyes when the baby has part of the amniotic sac covering its head or face, was dangerous for the child, and many have died. So it was said that those who survived were extremely lucky, born from the jaws of death, and walk that line until they enter the grave. When my elders began passing away, I dedicated myself to collecting this lore and keeping track of the beliefs and tales I heard growing up. Being born blue, I grew up hearing things that weren't said aloud by anyone present, knowing what someone was going to say before they said it, or how they were faring, and sensing what was about to happen. My sister, a left twin, or a surviving twin since our sister died in the womb before birth, also has these gifts. These occurrences, like speaking with the dead openly, laying salt and cinnamon at the doors, or being healed by my mother's hands instead of the doctor, weren't anything strange to us. There have been many books coming forth to help preserve our culture, how we pray, how we cook and eat, what toys our kids play with, how we work and dress, how we birth and bury our own. However, largely kept to the side, out of sight and out of mind, are the secret doings of how we handled when the deck was stacked against us. Those secrets kept in the home, or those secret ventures to meet that one person everybody was wary of. Folk magic and conjure have played a big role in Appalachian life for centuries, being a mix of cultural beliefs from the native tribes, such as the Cherokee, and the immigrant people who settled here, Germans, English, and Scots-Irish. And it's high time that folks knew it and quit throwing it off as simple old wives' tales. Back in the day, these folks weren't talked about much, let alone written about. So many of the stories that have remained are oral stories passed around. That is the reason for my writing, to help preserve these traditions and, in a way, to revive that culture of superstition and tales that is unique to southern Appalachia. First, we will meet some of the key figures in Appalachian folk magic, understand them and the tales that remain. Then, it's off to the top of the mountain to meet the roots of money, love, and justice, and see how they are worked. Chapter 1. Witchcraft and Conjure in Appalachia. Every man was his own doctor and priest back in the day, until as recently as the early to mid-20th century, when Western medicine and stationary preachers became more abundant. Before that, every family or community had usually 1 to 3 people who helped with a range of ailments, from bleeding and infections to nightmares and supposed cures. These same folks would also deliver babies, perform baptisms, marry couples, and bury the deceased. Now, the folks who did this were as varied as their titles, but the most fascinating character in the hills was the root person. This was the old woman who knew everything whispered in the dark, and the man who came over the hills to cure you of a curse, holding a bucket of vomited crickets and salamanders. God listens to our prayers and knows what we need, but we Appalachian Americans have a certain self-reliance.